Nier 3 may be on the horizon. Hello everybody, I am Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming, and for those who don't know, Nier Automata is my favorite game of all time. I fell in love with the game when I first played it all those years ago, and every playthrough since and every time I watch someone else play it, I just fall more and more in love with the game. And my hopes and aspirations for Nier 3 have existed since I first beat the game all those years ago, and I've been on the edge of my seat with bated breath, patiently waiting for the day we would get a Nier 3. I'm not counting the gacha game, but we'll talk about that one later in the video. But we might actually be getting Nier 3 soon-ish. In a Gematsu article, they pretty much interviewed a bunch of Japanese developers asking about their future plans for 2025 and pretty much their ambitions. One of the people they interviewed is Yosuke Saito. You may know him for his work with the Nier series. He was the producer. He is one of the big heads for Nier. And while Nier isn't the only thing he's known for, he also works on Dragon Quest, his reply was largely about Nier. And I'll read it here for you right now. 2025 will be a milestone year as it marks the 15th anniversary of the Nier series. So I'd like to do something for it. What should we do? Maybe something with the next game or developments related to that. That being in italicized. I've been hearing the fans' expectations. It's a bit tricky though. That said, as I'll likely be doing less work or less direct work as a producer, I'd appreciate it if you could patiently look forward to what's coming. So yeah, the majority of that does sound PR-y, right? However, he is pretty much heavily hinting at the idea that there will be something for Nier in the near future with 2025. Whether that actually means a full game release or just an announcement for a future game release is yet to be seen, but there's a lot of different ways that Nier can go from here. And I don't envy necessarily the position they're in right now. The Nier Twitter recently announced that Nier Automata sold over 9 million copies of Nier Automata. That is an absolute insane milestone to accomplish. And for a game that I unabashedly stan, I'm glad it's seen that success because I do think it's earned. But the question about where you go from here is a really complicated one because based upon who you ask, the answer will be different. There's not like a clear-cut, concise way that you just go in the future for Nier. Do you continue with the cast of characters from Nier Automata? That's a bit tricky because the story wrapped up damn near perfectly with the events of Automata. Do you continue a plot line that was kind of told in the crossover event with Final Fantasy XIV? You could do that. You would absolutely have to summarize or just showcase what's happening though, because playing like 500 hours of another JRPG to understand the story going into your new game is a weird ask. Do you maybe continue the storyline from Nier Reincarnation? Yes, let's talk about the mobile game now. Because some of you may have been shaking your fist going, Jmulls, we've already had Nier 3 and its name was Nier Reincarnation. For those who don't know what the hell I'm talking about with that, there has been another Nier game since the release of Automata and Replicant. It was, at least, a mobile gacha game by the name of Nier Reincarnation, where you play as a little girl trapped in this world called the Cage. And you have this weird, mysterious creature called Mama following you around and guiding you to unlock and uncorrupt certain weapons that you find in the cage and the memories they contain. It's a really cool premise. But the game was taken offline. It didn't perform well enough, despite having a lot of creativity within it. And I can't say I particularly feel bad about the decline of Reincarnation, because in a lot of ways, it was an unabashed gacha game. And closer to the end of its life, it just threw resources at players desperately trying to find some kind of audience and relying on the Nier IP. But to me, it didn't have that same gameplay flow and style and creativity that makes Nier Replicant and Automata so damn special. Because of the amount of resources they threw at you in Reincarnation, the game largely played itself, and even if you were appropriately leveled, the combat was just bad in my opinion. Just waiting around so a button refills and you could tap the button. It was a gacha game through and through, and I don't think the creativity of the story and the world that they were trying to paint was able to save the game, and I think that it's proven by the fact the game no longer exists. And while I am not completely familiar with the storyline they crafted for Nier Reincarnation, I know a little bit about it, and there is some genuine creativity, and I do think it's a standalone game. It could have had so much potential to shine just as bright as Replicant and Automata. Maybe what they they could do is adapt that storyline to an actual game. Because a massive part about why Nier works so well, in my opinion, and the reason I put Automata consistently in my #1 spot for my favorite game of all time, is the way it's able to weave storytelling with the gameplay. Like, yes, there is an anime adaptation of Nier Automata, but they had to alter the storyline drastically for that show. And not just to be different, because in my opinion, Nier Automata and also Nier Replicant work so well because they understand that they are video games, and this is especially true for Nier Automata. That is a story that is executed with the full identity of being a video game and utilizes the tools and methodologies available to it by virtue of being a video game to execute, further tell, and expand on its story in ways that only a video game can. It's not just a matter of being able to delete your save files and stuff like that. Varying different perspectives, the utilization of side content at your own pace, utilizing the main menus as essentially the vitals of these characters, the utilization of multiple routes in the game in order to add additional context, even when replaying through the same story section. I will always be a defender of Route B because of that. I think they executed on it pretty damn well. There's a lot that goes into why Nier Automata in particular has seen so much success, in my opinion. Because a lot of this stuff you may actively pick up on, but a lot of this can also work on your subconscious level to enhance your enjoyment. It's not just a matter of the characters being hot or pretty, or the music being really nice, or the world being post-apocalyptic. There's a lot under the hood that goes into making both Nier, Replicant, and Automata massive successes, and landmark entries in video games, in my opinion. And I think if Nier 3 is going to succeed in the future, it has to understand that it embraced those identities that it had in Automata and Replicant, but it didn't have in Reincarnation, because Reincarnation was trying to capitalize on the Nier IP to make a whole bunch of money by virtue of being a gacha game. And a live service game at that, because those games make tons of money if they're successful. And over the last few years, we've seen so many collaborations with Nier Automata across many other games, and it's been a bit of a shame to see not only the mobile gacha game come out, but seeing all these collaborations, and just having this feeling that Nier 3, the proper mainline game entry, just keeps getting its can kicked down the proverbial road. Whether or not that's actually true, that's the vibe it gives off. Because it's been a long time since Automata came out, and we had the re-release and the remaster/remake of Nier Replicant, which I think was really dang good. The want for a brand new entry has always still been there, though. And it'll be really interesting to see where they go with it. I personally would still really like to see some remasters or just remakes full stop of the Dragon God series as well. Where would this new, supposed new Nier game go in the timeline? Between Replicant and Automata? For some reason before Replicant, would that one even work? If you go after Automata, which ending do you follow up? Because they've done this before. Nier Replicant is a continuation of Dragon God's ending E from way back in the day. It's a continuation of that storyline. Or is it possible that you tell a story that happens concurrently with Automata, just on the other side of the world in the Kingdom of Night? Do you focus a bit more on the character of Accord, who comes from Dragon God 3 but is referenced in Automata and we know is in the Kingdom of the Night? Do you do something with the idea of the storyline brought in the Final Fantasy XIV collaboration event with Nier Automata, where the idea is that 2B and 9S are chasing after the Red Girl across multiple different worlds and dimensions? Do you continue that storyline? You could. There's a lot of questions here. Or do you do what Nier always tends to do and just go thousands of years into the future and tell a new story? Because I guarantee you, if you put a lot of people in a room, isolate themselves from the internet, and you have them play Nier Replicant and Nier Automata, a lot of those people would believe those stories are not connected outside of a meal. A lot of you watching this video may know that they're connected because we're massive Nier fans, but that's the beauty of this franchise. You can have a direct follow-up feel as if you need no prior knowledge. Nier's in a fascinating state right now. After years of them trying to milk this IP for all it had, finally, they might be going back to their roots and trying something really cool and new with a possible third mainline entry that won't just be delisted at some point and taken offline like Reincarnation. There's a lot of potential there. And personally speaking, when it concerns the storyline, I'll hear out whatever they have to say because I've enjoyed Automata and Replicant so much. They've earned the benefit of the doubt from me me at least, in that regard. I just hope this weird phase of them trying to milk Nier for all it possibly has, and having a collab with every dang thing under the sun, and trying to capitalize on the IP by releasing a mobile gacha game. I hope those days are in the past, at least for now, and we can focus back in on a real mainline game. That's my hope, because it has been quite a few years at this point, and expectations for a lot of people out there will be over the moon, and you won't be able to please everyone. It is a tall task, and I'll be interested to see if they're up for it. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure for making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and help support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts, your wish list of things that you want to see the most when it concerns the new Nier game. Do you want to just see them take the storyline from Reincarnation, make an actual game from it, do something new timeline? What do you want to see? I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your perspectives. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.